be actually doing it is it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And the guys that we watch too, like Fuad and stuff, I mean, he's had like John Meadows on there. He's had Evanston Apani. These are the guys that we, during our glory time, you know,
Yeah.
watched religiously. And so it is cool to finally be doing something similar to the guys that influenced us, and maybe it's and with the situation. Have you seen the situation Fuad's in right now?
Yeah, I saw that he had a wreck. I didn't get into the details. I just know he had a motorcycle wreck, and I don't know the whole story. But I saw he was actually still doing a podcast while in the hospital. I was like,
Yeah,
that's pretty
no
cool.
excuses.
Yeah,
Um, but hey, I started watching his stuff back in like 2019, and I just knew like the way he was doing it, it's so relatable that a guy like me could attempt to do it. And so I guess that's where a lot of the drive for wanting to do this came from. But at the same time, it can still be a little nerve wracking. So it's probably best that you know you're on here as soon as you are, and because you're other than my dad will eventually be on here, and so
yeah,
other than him, you're like the person I've known the longest. So that makes it easy. But man, I guess we'll go ahead and get it started. Drew, this is uh, a series I've wanted to start here since this is pretty much the main reason I started a YouTube channel. Like I got my Instagram back up. I'm trying to get a social media presence going again. But this has been the main goal of just everything I've had envisioned now for a few months. Um, what this is, it's called Glory Stories. Okay. Being former athletes, being former coaches, we have plenty of stories to tell. And so having people on here, the goal of it is remarkable people telling remarkable stories. And so this is your time to shine. This is your time to tell your fitness story, how it's helped you in your life, career wise, personally. We're going to talk about some of your hobbies outside of fitness, and maybe even how fitness has played a role in them as well. So, um, guys, anybody watching right now, um, me and Drew have been good friends for a very long time. And so I'm going to tell y'all this is going to be worth a listen. So, Drew, how about we say hello and, you know, give the fans what they want, huh?
absolutely, absolutely. We've known each other a long time, and we've broke a lot of bread talking about iron and shared a lot of good protein packed, carb packed meals. I have a lot
Yeah.
of stories of Zach and his meals he made when we were in college, and yeah, it's kind of cool to be doing something like this finally.
Well, uh, just to get us started, I know a little bit about your football career, um, and just how you came up and where you came up. Um, there being two schools in the Camden area, Camden, Arkansas, for those that are listening. Um, there's Camden Fairview, and then is it Camden Harmony Grove? Is that how you say it?
It's Camden Harmony Grove. There are two Harmony Groves in Arkansas. There's one. It's Haskell. I feel like they named Benton Harmony Grove, Haskell Harmony Grove, but I tell people I'm from the one in Camden. It's actually on the outskirts of Camden. Um, I tell people I'm from Camden, but I'm really not. We just don't. There was no post office in Harmony Grove, so we had to go off of Camden's postal code, zip code. Um, so Harmony Grove started Pee Wee football as I was just about like my third grade year, that was the first year Harmony Grove started Pee Wee football. And so it was new to everybody around there. You know, the guys that coached, they had never coached football like that. A lot of them Harmony Grove, like literally one of them was I believe he was probably a senior at the time. He was one of our main coaches, so he would literally run over there after his football practice, like still in his football pants, and just start coaching us. So, um, yeah, I started out one of my first positions that I ever played, and was one that I basically played the rest of my years was center, and was never the biggest, was never the strongest, but um, center it takes a lot of grit, a lot of meanness and toughness, and I'm not gonna come on here and say I was the toughest, most grittiest guy ever. You know, I let other people have to tell you that, but I don't know. That's just where I started out, and I played that pretty much the rest of my through my high school years on and off. But
it's actually, I mean, there, in all the positions that there are in football, maybe this senior knew something. Like he could just tell, like this is a kid, this is a strong blue collar kid who just knows how to work. He comes from a working family. That's the guy I want in charge of my line. And that's kind of, and so it seems like it was a really good fit for you. I mean, me personally, if I was in charge, I'd probably put you at fullback or something and just let you carry the rock a little bit. For those that don't know, Drew is quadzilla, and so he's got some stumps, man, and strong in the legs. And so yeah, I'd have put you probably at fullback and let you carry the rock a little bit. But being a center, and especially coming up throughout your high school years, training wise, what was your mindset? Uh, because you mentioned you were a smaller guy. What had to be your mindset and your mentality, like at every practice, every gym session? Can you explain that a little bit?
well, I would probably have to attribute it to that right there. I was never the biggest guy. I was never like I graduated high school at 160 pounds, and I mean my senior year, literally, like Harmony Grove went to. We were the size of a 2A school, but we consolidated with a school nearby that gave us very few football players, but we that made us the size of a 3A school. And I was the smallest guy on the line. We have the biggest line in 3A, and I was by far the smallest guy. So I'm there's nothing else I can do but be gritty and try to be mean. Even though I'm not a mean person, but I had to play like I was. And I just like my dad, he's the one who taught me, like when we were in Pee Wee, he was one of the coaches, and just throughout life in general, I didn't get, you know, wasn't brought up. Just I had to be tough, and he showed me he wasn't gonna let me like wimp out and quit and this. Like he really showed me how to show me what toughness was. And I knew, like I said, I was never going to be the biggest guy, and so I knew when it from a training standpoint, I got to be in there working out. So I didn't live far from Harmony Grove, so like whenever we had summer workouts, I was able to get up there a lot, like easily. But I wanted to be up there. I always had like a natural love for working out and training. So much so that after I graduated and everything, that's when I started actually going to our public gym settings and continuing that training. But as far as our, working out in high school, it was just about consistency, keep showing up, giving 100% in the weight room or whatever coach had for us. I was trying to do that 100 to 100%, and people were always watching you. Like your teammates are always watching you. I didn't think about it like that when I was younger, but it's true. Like if you slack off, you might have some teammates that are looking up to you that are they'll start slacking off too. And I even attribute that to my day-to-day job now. If you have coworkers, they're kind of watching you to see how you operate, and if you're kind of lax and don't really want to, you know, give 100%, well, they may start trying to slack off. And I don't know. It's fun. Like, it's funny to me how a lot of things when it comes to training, football, sports, it's it's
It's definitely
magnified in the outside world, the work world or what have you.
well, there's I, I've seen that too. Um, Coming up, just the correlation between all that. Like you don't think about that stuff when you're younger, like how this is really going to impact you later on in your life. And it's life training, man. It really is. It's more than just a game. Like and same way with weights early on in your life. You know, it teaches. It's a discipline that's going to carry over into your day to day life. So yeah, absolutely. Now you said something. You you said even after you graduated and you moved on, you know, going to public gyms like that was the next step for you. It's 2010. And correct me if I'm wrong on my dates here, but it's 2010 at this point, and you're a freshman at Henderson State, and you know, that's where Drew and I met. We met. We both went and graduated from Henderson State. You came across an individual by the name of James Bowling, right? Okay. Uh, how did that relationship influence you going forward from that point? And maybe you can elaborate on James a little bit, just to kind of, you know, let us know exactly who he was and what he had going on.
James, he's a local bodybuilding guru, but he is from Southern California. But he's a transplant here, and my dad knew him from his job, and he knew I was in Arkadelphia and I was needing a job, and I actually started working at a gym he had at the time, 5 to 9 every evening. Wasn't many hours, but I got to work out while I was there, do homework while I was there. He even gave me a discount on the 5 pound jugs of protein. Um, Very knowledgeable guy about bodybuilding training. Um, he's gonna he's gonna tell you how he feels, what, and he's gonna pick at you if he sees you're not giving it all, or he's gonna be like, what kind of form is that? You know, he's gonna and, the one of the biggest takeaways was him and his workout partners back then. They trained legs like I actually feel like it's not mainstream now, but I see more young people training legs hard now than even when we were in college. Wouldn't have ever expected that, but I look around and I can see them doing stuff, exercises, um, reps, weight. I can see them training with that intensity that it takes to grow their legs. Well, back in 2010, that was rare. And so I got like James and his workout partner, like training hard, leg press, squat. You know, that was back when I learned about the Widowmaker sets on leg press, where you put a weight on that you can do 10 reps, but you do 20. That second half of 10 is just one at a time, one at a time. But it's like 10 singles, if you will. And it just was like gonna equal your legs growing.
Now, wasn't James what wasn't James was he a former Mr. Arkansas?
James, I don't know how many years he actually competed. He did compete in the Masters, but I need to ask him. I still see him. I still see him every day in the gym during the week, and I need to ask him more about career before even coming to Arkansas, because I'm sure like over half his life, or at least half his life, was spent in Southern California. But he knows a lot of people in the bodybuilding, powerlifting realm, uh, especially for where I am on the globe. It's really it's really rare that people are in that scene. You know, you see people here and there that are in it like deep, but um, he knows a lot of people.
He
And
he's almost he almost reminds me of. I mean, he's a lot like John Meadows, you know, um, just from what interactions I've had with him from a knowledge standpoint. Because I mean, him and I like I did like one little posing day with him. Just this is probably back in like 20 May, like spring of 2016. I did one little one posing session with him, and in that session, him and I we talked like in between poses and stuff, we would talk like physiology and we would talk a little bit of nutrition and the stuff we were learning in school at the time. He was just regurgitating that stuff right back to me, which kind of showed me like, okay, wow, this stuff, this is this
knows
this can be, yeah, like this can be applied outside of the classroom, and it's not nonsense. You know, there really is something to it. So that really put James on a pedestal for me, and knowing that you got you know a a pretty solid relationship with this guy. Um, I mean, I've had some good influences come in and out of my lifting career and all that, but nobody like James. Nobody like James is, S tier, when it comes to like people, because you oh man, and like we had a instructor at Henderson State named Dr. John Thomason, and probably one of the smartest guys you'll ever meet when it comes to this stuff. James is up there with him, you know, and so just having a personal relationship with a guy like that, I had to hit on it, man. Now there is. You said when we got started, there are plenty of stories from our time in and out of the gym back in them college years, man. Remember, this is glory stories, right? So we got to tell some stories that made us. Uh, all gloves are off when it comes to me too, man. So if you got something that's funny and you feel like it's good to share, please do. But what are some of your best memories from those college years in and out of the gym?
oh man, a lot of it's gonna be from the gym because like when I look back, I tell people I was like, man, we used to didn't have to worry about. We'd go to class and then we'd come back to the house, the rooms, whatever, and just we would be eating as much as we could, cooking a lot, and just waiting to go to the gym. Like that was literally what our life was, and like I remember a lot of meals that we cooked. We had a lot of I don't I mean like beef patties that we cooked. And Zach really likes ketchup. He had ketchup with everything, with eggs and
I mean,
yes. Um, outside of the gym, just hanging out, man. We'd play like video games. I feel like it's a lot of generic stuff, but like you just make those memories with your boys and just everybody's hanging out, and you're not like our lives now are way different than that. You know, you have stuff you got to do. See, back then we didn't have much we had to do. We just go to go eat out, or I went fishing a lot. Always had the boat, so
I got one story coming to mind, and I'm scared to bring it up, man. And I think you might know what I'm talking about.
bring it up.
You mind, you mind sharing the time we're gonna go to Texarkana and stop at McDonald's on the way there?
You talking about like
Yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah, go ahead. We
Uh,
are unfiltered, man. So here we go.
well, we're in the Dodge single cab. Were you in your truck?
Uh, we were
Oh,
no man. We were in a Swagosis, Yucatan Swagosis.
really? Okay. You talking about the time we had to stop, right?
Yep, that's one. Yep.
So me and Zach are we're going down I-30. We're going to Texarkana. We used to make these trips to Texarkana to go to. It was like a trifecta. There was a supplement store. There was a gym down from the supplement store, and then there was multiple restaurants around. So we would literally go get our supplements, and back then we'd get a free T-shirt while we were there. And then we would go. At the time, it was a Gold's Gym Express. We'd go there and get a lift in, and then we'd go to Texas Roadhouse. But anyways, we're on our way there. Probably jamming out to some rock music, and um, you said we had McDonald's. Is that what we?
We right when we took off before we left Arkadelphia, we had hit up that McDonald's right there by the interstate.
So we're riding. We've had our McDonald's, and basically nature calls on Zach, and it calls fast, and it calls ruthlessly, and we're trying to we're trying to find a place to stop at a gas station, and we make it
Barely.
barely, and goes to do his business, but he did have a casualty. He did have to uh, leave part of his undergarments back in the bathroom in the trash can,
And
and
that was like my best pair, man. Like I wore them every day because I knew like those were my. If I wore those, I knew I was going to have a good lift, and consider that day sold. But
but it was the statement that Zach made when he got back in the truck. He just said, like, where were you, 22 or 21?
we were 22. I was at the time 22.
I'm a 22-year-old man, and I just that was a high whole trip.
Yeah.
But
But
that's relatable. People would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's so nasty." Hey, everybody has had the call at some point.
it's better to do it then while you're squatting, and like
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't want to be at the bottom of a leg press and have blowout. So
yeah, you were good to go. I mean, the pre-workout cleanse,
yeah, everybody has it.
highly underrated.
Well, hey, Drew. Okay, so the,
We're over here talking about bowel movements
yeah, yeah,
for the
hey,
folks at home.
yeah. Oh, my mom was gonna see this. I got this is one of my fondest memories, man. I don't. I that was a good one. A lot of the times we had at the health club, I think, are some of the more memorable ones for me. Titan was good. Titan, man, some of the workouts at Titan were just awesome. We cranked that. We cranked that two steps from Hades up, man, across that whole gym where people three neighborhoods over could probably hear us.
Yeah,
And we'd bang out some arms, and you think we'd be getting ready to go to war, but
like 10 o'clock at night too. Like something that we did, we would like break in half, but we're in there at 10 o'clock at night, and like that's all we have to worry about. I mean, there's good workouts there. I think about those too. Those good memories.
one of my favorites. This was at the health club. And there's a video somewhere on Facebook floating around out there of this. Um, you and I, we y'all, Drew and I also we did it. We had we a couple of the same employers. We did some construction together back in them days. We also drove for Pizza Hut, and
Yeah.
so you go to work for Pizza Hut, and you get you a pizza and some pasta or something, and you take that stuff home, save it for a post workout din, and you go work out. But this might have been around that time. I think it was. But we go we go to the Arkadelphia Health Club, and you said that you were going to do deadlift that night. Now, me, I think I might have had something else in mind. I'm not really sure. I can't remember what I was doing, but I could see you off in the distance, over in the far corner of the health club, over by the dumbbell area. Those that watch this and remember, and you were just prepping your deadlift, and you were and there was just a feel. You you might have been working there at the time because we had some tunes playing that we wouldn't have had access to if we
Yeah.
were not working there. You might have been working there, but
Yeah. I think
the
so.
music's right. The intent, the intensity was just, I mean, it was off the charts. And I'm just, I'm ready to put my workout aside because I have to go over there and see what you're doing. And you're just doing some warm up sets for your deadlift, and you're gonna get a 1 rep. You really didn't know like where you were gonna go, um, but you go for that 1 rep, and at the time it was a lifetime PR attempt, and you I just I wasn't big on taking videos back in the day. Back in the day, I didn't even like having my phone. Like I would have my phone on me just for music's sake, but other than that, just that old school mentality, like you just put that stuff aside and you're here to focus on the weights. Well, I grab my phone and I'm gonna take a video of this. Y'all, Drew's setting up for his deadlift, and I mean he's Cro Magnon era. He's no shoes. He's in there with the deadlift socks on, uh, and he's just locked in that zone. And I get gassed up when other people get gassed up, and he is just locked in. And all of a sudden, my inner Ronnie Coleman starts coming out. Yeah, buddy, gotta get geek, baby. I'm shouting at the top of my lungs. And Drew hits this lifetime PR deadlift. It was just, Drew, I don't think you ever realized how strong you actually are. You may have, but dude, you're one of the strongest cats I've ever seen in my entire life. You know, I, I don't even over 10 times stronger than me, especially when it came to like lower body and stuff. You were a little bit more disciplined when it came to isolating movements as well. So I might have done more weights on stuff, but I feel like you were a lot more effective in a lot of the stuff we were doing. But you hit that deadlift so good, and it was so smooth, and it was just so it was perfect, man. It was an absolute perfect lift, and you put the bar down. I'm going excited, and I look over at you, and I just see this right here. Hey, 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 hey. Like you just smile, like there was no that was the emotion, man.
Yeah.
And like I just nowadays, if somebody were to hit those numbers and post that stuff on the internet, it wouldn't be. I'm not trying to like downgrade the attempt or anything, but people see like a 600-pound deadlift often nowadays, But to you and me back then, dude, those numbers were just like, oh gosh, And we post that video on Facebook, and I'm shouting at the top of my lungs. Of course, James Bowling gets on there, and it's like the best part of the video is Zach yelling. I'm like, really? I sound like
Yeah.
an idiot, but we're not going to say anything about the awesome deadlift, and just that's one of the things that stick out. Like, wait to you. It's like, dude, this guy is serious about this stuff, you know. Like you were always just locked in, dead focused when it was time to work. And man, I can't tell you because I'm a little bit younger than you too, you know, and so I have looked up to you as a big brother, and I've I would see things like that, and I'm just like, gosh, dude, I got a lot to learn about just the little things in the gym, set up, being patient with stuff, that it's a lot of times it's not it's not just instantaneous results. It is workout after workout, rep after rep, and you're the master of that, dude. You really are. Like, when I think of you in the think of how Drew's the perfect meaning of consistency. So that's my story for you. I'm going to transition a little bit away from poop stories, and it's 2016 at the time, and you're at Hampton. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Um, and that was your first year there, right?
Yeah. Funny enough, a coach had left. By the way, let me stop. I appreciate your compliments, but I wasn't that much. I wasn't really that strong. I was just strong in the deadlift. And like you said, like now I see kids do what I did. I'm like, man, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm glad I went through when I did because back when we were hitting it in the health club, it was like strength was. I don't know. I see kids now like busting out that 500. I thought was a 505 deadlift, and I remember that night because, like you said, wasn't expecting anything to do that. Wasn't expect. I was just going there and do deadlift. I used to do like 8 sets of two, 7 sets of three, 8 sets of one. Just kind of simple deadlift rep range. But um, yeah, we just ran like that bar looked hideous after like tens and 25 is like 340 245s or 345s and a bunch of 25s and 10s, and it was hideous. But it was 505, and that was a PR. Haven't touched that since. But yeah, 2016. Um, Literally, I'm working at the gym at the time. It's July, and I get a call from the coach at Hampton, and basically he's like, "Hey, we got a coach leaving for another job. Your name popped up. Uh, would you be interested in being interviewed?" And went and interviewed and got the job. And it was a it was a start. Like I coached for 2 years and I got out of it. I'm doing something different now, but like those 2 years were like 5 years because we had a lot happen. My first year, um, yeah, jump right in. It's July, like summer practice is about to happen like the next week or two. Like it's nuts. I'm like, okay, football coach now. Um, I was expecting, I was just working at the gym, doing construction too, just, living life, seeing what's going to happen, and got an opportunity. Um, that football season, we went on to play in the state championship game. Had a lot of stuff happen throughout the year, though. We had a coach. He was 26 years old, running scout team quarterback. He's out there, throwing the ball, kind of just running, trying to give the defense a look, and runs out. I remember he runs out to the left. I'm like behind the defense, like me and another coach. We're watching everybody see if they're doing their job, and that coach he runs out to the left, kind of like a rollout, and he starts walking back to the huddle and falls falls down and like collapses. And we think at first, he's just joking, he's messing around, just carrying on. And he just lays there. And we run over there and check on him. and we rolled him over, and we're like, oh, he just got too hot. And um, so we started pouring water on him, stuff that you would do, like, oh, coach, wake up, wake up. He didn't. He's not waking up. So like I'm in, like I run to go get an AED from the school. Like it's kind of like like a serious situation. I make my journey. I come back with the AED, and they're doing CPR on this man. Ambulance has done got there, and that guy passes away at 26 years old with high blood pressure. My first year of coaching, and then a few weeks later, we have a sixth grader pass away of cancer. So me and you, we went through stuff in school. We took all the classes. We took all these teaching classes and this and philosophies and data and all that. Nothing gets you prepared for something like that. My first semester of coaching is heavy and real. So that was definitely a challenge to get through that, and to think like that's life for you. I'm working at a gym, kind of like fresh out of college, not doing a whole lot, kind of just getting my trying to look for jobs, and one falls in my lap, and then we go through that first thing. So yeah, 2016 from July to December, that was a heavy time.
How did that which I didn't I vaguely remember hearing about the coach situation. Um I don't think I ever really heard the details on that. I might have been a little afraid to bring it up, but um you know, things like that often, and I mean, a tragedy is never good. I mean, anything like that, it's never good. But how did the team respond? I mean, did it kind of wake up? Because I mean, y'all were a rock solid team. I remember watching y'all, like, offensively, y'all had some weapons.
Yeah.
Um, did that bring y'all even closer together, or how did that, like, what was the result of that
Dude,
catastrophe?
dude, it was a football movie. Like if there had like that could be literally the setting and plot for a football movie, because yes, that team came together after that, like, to say the least. And I got a lot of stories like after that happened. Um, Interestingly enough, we're about to play my alma mater that week, and so we're about to play Harmony Grove, and I believe that happened. It was either a Monday or Tuesday. They moved the game time back an hour to have like a visitation. So we come out that Friday, and like I said, this is just it's all surreal to me because we're in the like the visiting locker room, which was the old basketball locker room of the old basketball gym, place that I've been my whole life throughout my school years. We're we're about to take the field against my alma mater, and Harmony Grove is set up now. The game field is on the old practice field. So, like I said, it's like a blur to me because I'm like all this emotion and all this like stuff's happening around me. Basically, we get down. We're down at halftime, and it's not looking good. It's looking like they come out, and it's just the situation. It's just too much for them. They're not really locked in, and that would be absolutely the case. We weren't locked in, but it wasn't because of just it wasn't lack of focus. It was just it's hard to focus. It wasn't like we were just like your mind couldn't get focused on a football game. Neither could us coaches, even though we may have put on a front like we were focused. I mean, it was just really weird because you're there without your colleague. And this was a man very, very, very knowledgeable, especially for his age in the offense that we ran at the time. So it had not having that offensive mindset and that vision there. And I mean, the team we're about to play is really good. Now, I'm not just saying that because that was my alma mater. I'm just saying they were really good. Going to be a tough opponent. Basically, we're down halftime, come back out, and the switch was flipped, and now everybody was back dialed in. We're about to go back out here. Somehow, some way, we're going to win this game. And it took some defensive plays, some interceptions, some broke tackles, taking it to the house. I mean, it was a hard fought second half, and we eventually won the game. And the movie could have ended right there, honestly. But week after week, we showed back up and made it to the playoffs. And I'll never forget, we were in the semifinals. And if there was a game ever at Hampton that had more people at it, I would like to know what game that was, because there was people basically wrapped all the way around that 2A field down in South Arkansas. We were playing England, who was high flying quarterback, wide receiver, going to D1 school. It was like, it's been a good run, Hampton, but we're about to end this thing. And I remember there was a cannon that a guy would shoot every time we scored a touchdown. And that cannon went off for Hampton 3 times in the first quarter. I mean, England, they didn't know what hit them. And we ended up winning that game, and then we went to play Mount Ida in the state title game. And
that's the one that I came and watched.
yeah.
And man, when I say y'all had some offensive weapons, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
That quarterback y'all had was a stud, man. And he was just a junior. No, he was a sophomore that year, right? Like, he was young, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like I don't know. He may have been a senior
Okay.
or a junior. I'll have to dive back into. I'm trying to think about who we had on the team. If they watch this, they'll be able to tell you.
Well, y'all. I mean, that game was such a back and forth, man. I mean, I remember sitting in the stands, me and my brother. For those that are watching and don't, my brother at the time had, I think, just left Henderson State and went to go, or no, he might have been in Blytheville at the time and was transitioning to Linden Kildare, way down in northeast Texas, and it was just one of those weird times. Him and I actually got to hook up, and it was because we needed to go watch Drew in the state championship. And man, we were sitting there, and dude, we were so proud, man. We were like, I mean, just seeing you down there and the atmosphere, it was just, it was one of them stories like, man, one of us is making it, one of us is doing it, and that's our guy down there.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've never told you this, but man, like, all of us, we were incredibly, like, proud of you, because I mean, I knowing your story at the time and how far we had to fight to get to the point. Because I mean, at the time I was a head strength coach at Arkansas Baptist. James was doing his thing down in Texas. You were down in Hampton. Who'd have thought a year prior to that, we would be where we were at. But it was so great seeing you in that setting, knowing that these boys are about to put up a fight and win this thing. I mean, Mount Ida was a tough team, tough.
Yes,
Um, but I mean, like y'all just, I remember it was just like a back and forth, and offensively, that quarterback decided, he put the ball in his hands quite a bit. And I don't know, man, it was a great experience watching you in that element, and now knowing the details on what y'all had to face to get to that point, that's crazy.
yeah,
That is, I mean, that right there could be like Friday Night Lights Part Two, or just like Friday Night Lights 2016.
literally. And when we made it to that state title game, I did not take it for granted because, like, I never, high school, we never got close to that game. So when I was there, it was like, oh, we're here. Some teams like they make that regularly, so it's like not. I'm not saying it's not a big deal, but um, Hampton had a lot. That town shut down on that day. I believe it was December 10th, and the game still was a blur. And it came down to a 2 point conversion, and people gave our coach a lot of flack, but it was literally an RPO. The ball was in the best player in the state's hands, and it just didn't work out. And I remember people giving a bunch of armchair quarterbacks. They know all about what the right play to call, but I'm like, y'all realize the best player in the state had the ball in his hands. And it just didn't work out.
And that's, again, that's another lesson in life. I mean, not everything is going to work out in our favor every single time, but what matters most, right, is how we respond in that situation.
Absolutely.
Now, transitioning a little bit away from that, we're about to have to wrap this thing up. But I got a main question I want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
You have we, like the rest of us, we've all grown up, right? We got families now. We're working full-time jobs. And then some of us, James, for instance, is doing everything he went to school for. You and I, a little bit different. We're it's a lot of just finding what is the best fit for you as a person and what fits your life the most. Now, because we're out of that coaching and football atmosphere, and because we're away from it, and our focus has to be more on, because I don't know about you, sometimes I got to do an 8 hour shift, sometimes I got to do 12. And if I'm not locked in during those times, dude, a lot of bad things could happen. A lot of bad things. But how has fitness, how has weights, how has bodybuilding, all that, how has that prepared you for who you are today in the workforce?
Well, you got to stay consistent in the weight room, and you got to go about it with a focus. And I don't know. One thing that I can say is lifting and training and staying consistent. It does directly affect how I carry myself at work. And we like to feel good. We like to look a certain way. And when you do look a certain way, I don't know, it just secondarily just makes me like carry myself with more confidence in, how I physically carry myself. And not everybody has something like what we have, like weight training. I believe that everyone needs something physically that they do. That's just my personal opinion, because it's the whole body in motion tends to stay in motion. Uh, Everybody needs something that they do physically to push their body. Now, is that the world that we live in? It's not, but I do believe it would benefit everybody if they found something. I have found that something. I'm fully confident in that. That's why I like to still lift weights and train. I think I lean on it more than I ever have. And now, don't get me wrong, it is very tough to stay consistent at it. I have to leave work and come back and go straight to the gym. Or I talk about, I tell people like this, the voices in your head, before you know it, they'll be convincing you, hey, you don't have to work out. You don't have to work out today. Just go home and chill. And though I do think that you do need a rest sometimes, I do believe that it's best if you just go in there and try to have a good workout. Um, yeah, I
About
just
how long are your sessions nowadays, like on average?
40, 45 minutes. Sometimes they're 30. I mean, is there is an urgency now to the point of we got to get in, we got to work out because I have a guy that he comes and works out with me, and I mean he's grown, he's got wife and two kids. We have to we have to get in and then get gone, and if nothing else, just to get home and which is another good point to get home and cook and do things around the house. See, that's another thing that's good about for me is going to the gym. It gives me a revitalized view of life, as in I'm going to go home and I have more energy. I'm more awake than what I was right when I left work. Go home and actually cook like real food and don't try not to fall into the whole loop of fast food. It's really tough to get out of that loop if you're in it. But going to the gym, it I don't know, it keeps me focused, and I believe with everything in today's world, need some strong male figures out there in the world, and it's important to stay strong, physically strong, and look physically strong. I feel like it's also just one of my opinions. I mean, that's all.
Definitely a shared opinion.
Huh?
Definitely a shared opinion. You know, I think about my dad. You know, my dad spent almost 20 years working in a steel mill. You know, and he's a former collegiate athlete. He's 6'2", and I remember seeing him my early years coming home. He worn down, but the dude was still jacked. You know, OLP back in the day, man, he's stout. You know, I think of guys like your dad who's solid as a rock. You know, but these were strong male figures,
Yeah.
and it's our turn. And part of that, it's not just the lifting. Like we're not just going in there, we're not just moving weights at our age because it's just something to do. It's a discipline thing. Like like you mentioned a second ago, you know, there's a purpose to it and it affects our day-to-day life. But if we as men aren't disciplined in something good, something positive, I mean, I've heard stories where like people have kind of gone astray. You know, they've gotten away from who they were, and so in a sense, it's a glue that holds us together as men. So
Yeah.
no, that's definitely a shared opinion, and it does assist. In now, we're not saying guys that if you don't work out, you're not a strong male. Like that's not what we're getting at. But
Definitely. Yeah.
guys,
That's definitely not what we're saying. So don't like, oh my gosh, they said we're not men if we don't work out. That's not it. Not what I'm saying at all.
we're you know, this is just who we are, and this is just the thing that we do, and so it keeps us like in check when it comes to being responsible, um making sure we're taking care of what's ours, you know, and you know, it just keeps us in our, you know, top form. So, and that's something for us. For anybody, it could be like, you know, art could be your discipline, or uh you know, martial arts, and you know, like there are many disciplines out there that can help you. It just so happens that ours is weights and exercise and fitness. So that's all we're saying.
Yeah, it's
That's
our
all.
passion. Our passion. You can be passionate about a lot of things, and I admire people who have different passions. Like I'll be on YouTube and I'm watching a dude like his passion is cleaning up an old handgun, pistol, cast iron skillet, and he's like refurbishing it. And I'll sit there and watch it. I'm like, that's pretty cool. It's not nothing I don't know anything about, but it's pretty cool. And yeah, ours just happens to be lifting weights, staying strong, trying to look strong, trying to be strong.
Well, Drew, I guess we're gonna wrap this thing up, man. Drew, I appreciate this so much, man. I really do. You know, I we don't we don't get to see each other as much, as we used to. So like this, it's a great way to stay connected, but also I feel like people needed to hear your story. And all this, a lot of this really, we just hit on from like the bulk of it was really just like what the last 15 years or so. There's a lot more. So there could be a part two coming at you in sometime in the near future. So I might have to hit you up for that. But Drew, I appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this thing up?
It was fun, man. It's good to talk to you, and hope all is well.
All right. All right. Same here. Well, Paige, thank you for letting him have an hour or so to do this. I don't know if she can hear me or not, but I'm thankful for that.
Probably.
I had to do this in between naps. I I got one napping and one watching Frozen, so it's like, oh, I gotta go. This is the best chance to do it. Gotta go.
Yeah.
But and we're about to have a third come November. Oh boy. But
That's all.
yeah, we growing like weeds around here. But
I'm telling you.
Drew, I appreciate it, buddy, and we'll catch you down the road, man.
Sounds good, buddy. Good to see you.
Yeah, take care.
See you, bud.